sports performance supplements, event partnerships, Elite 15 HYROX, and brand ambassadors across the hybrid fitness racing space in all age categories. Hello and welcome to On The ROX Podcast with me, Coach Marshy. I hope everyone is well and welcome back to the show if you listen regularly. And if you are new here, if you could do all the usual, like, subscribe, share and comment, because they make a huge difference to all of us little guys that are just passionate about hybrid fitness racing and here to share the stories. So let's welcome today's guest into the show. Hello and welcome, Dan from XEndurance. How are you, Dan?
I'm very good, very good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Recently, we've just had the 10 days at HYROX. Have you all HYROX out?
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, I was only there for the Europeans, for the EMEAs, but there for, I think we probably had sort of 15, maybe 18 athletes out over 2 days. So lots of content to gather. And I was in that venue for pretty much the whole 48 hours, it felt like. A bit burned from that. But I don't think I was there quite as long as you were.
Yeah, no, I think being there the whole 10 days on and off was certainly exciting. And like for me, like you, content is coming out of my ears at the moment. And it's time to keep editing that and using it where we can and helping those athletes out. But I've got a burning question. XEndurance, people within the hybrid fitness racing space may be very familiar with the brand. If they are, great. If they aren't, what would you say to them? Who are you in your role, and what is XEndurance?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Dan. I'm in charge of UK and Europe for our sort of marketing and operations side of things. And XEndurance, it's a brand. It's also over in the US and a few other small territories as well. But we mainly focused in the endurance sport market and more recently in the sort of hybrid fitness spacing. So we originally were in the sort of CrossFit, triathlon, ultra marathon, swimming, those kind of spaces. But then, in the past sort of probably 6 years now, we've had a little bit more focus in the hybrid space, as has everybody. So we cover a broad range of sports supplements. We're most well known for our lactic acid buffer, which is known as Extreme Endurance over in the US. But we also cover carbohydrate drinks, energy gels, hydration, multivitamins, omegas, proteins, sort of your broad spectrum sort of sports supplements as well.
Yeah, no, cool. That's really good. And someone like myself who's been around within the hybrid fitness racing space for the similar sort of time that you guys are talking about there, you're certainly a brand that I've got used to seeing around on the various sort of, I guess, the ambassador and athletes t-shirts, the kind of Instagram reels and bits and bobs on stories that your athletes are posting. In terms of the background of the brand, where did it kind of originate from? And was there like a reason it started, or was it just pure passion for sport?
Yeah, absolutely. So it started in the early 2000s, originally over in Europe. So Sandy Kellen, who's the owner and operator over in the States, over in Arizona, he was in Europe. He's been around in the sort of sports industry for almost all of his life, really. And he was speaking with different athletes and sort of discussing their needs and what they wanted in the European market. And they developed a few of the original formulations back then. And I believe those were Immune Boost, Extreme Endurance or Lactic Acid Buffer, and our Joint 4, so our joint supplement as well. It sort of started very casually. People started taking it. They really loved it. And it sort of snowballed from there. And then everybody who's in the company really is into sport, is into fitness in some realm. So in the States, they were very early adopters in the CrossFit space. And in the UK and Europe, we were more sort of in the triathlon and running space and cycling initially. And the company's sort of grown from that. So it's a family operated over in Arizona. We're actually family operated as well in the UK and Europe. We're a very small team. You're speaking to half of us today. So that's sort of how small an operation we keep it. And yeah, it's grown pretty organically, really. And especially in the hybrid space. I mean, Jim, the general manager, he was at the very first HYROX in London back in 2021, I believe. There was it's hard to believe there were 650 people did that over one day. And you could pick up a ticket on the same day. And it was like, okay, it's kind of weird if you've only been in the space for a couple of years to even think that existed. And he saw it pop up on a Facebook ad, I think, and thought, oh, that looks like a laugh. I think he might not love me saying this, but I'm not sure he even actually completed. I think he cramped up so badly on the lunges because he was so unprepared for what the race was. He's come back, competed multiple times at World Champs at this point. But yeah, that's sort of how we got into it, really.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear that initial story again, and we've spoken to so many guests where that London 2021 race was a thing for them, and it's always great because it comes out in the same way every time that it was just that sort of 600 runners. I think they were done by 3:00 in the afternoon. I mean, tell that to a HYROX member of staff right now. They'd probably chew your hand off. But yeah, and then to hear that you guys as a collective have been sort of in that kind of market since then and been involved from that first day in the UK. And although it was born in Germany, the whole HYROX concept and HYROX was built there, that 2021 event at the XL does sort of stand out as a real kind of changer for the sport of HYROX, and it probably, and this is just my opinion, put it where it is now. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I definitely think it was. I mean, I remember speaking to Jim after the event, and I thought, oh, that sounds like a laugh. At that point, I was working for a different brand. I was also coaching in a CrossFit gym, and a couple of the guys at the gym had gone and done the race. I thought, oh, that sounds like a bit of a laugh. I mean, I signed up for the following Birmingham. Missed out on the open tickets, thought, oh, it's fine, I'll just jump in on pro weights. That'll be absolutely fine. Set off at 8 p.m. I think it took me just under 2 hours because again, completely unprepared for it. But even then, that was the next race in the UK, and it exploded after that. It was a full day by then. And yeah, that first London race, the amount of our athletes that we now support who were there, and what are we, 5-6 years on now, and are still coming back for more. It was definitely that sort of very pivotal moment. And even in the States where we see sports growing and exploding, it's really only taken up in the US in the last couple of years. It's taken a while to get there, where actually in the UK, we're all used to struggling to get tickets, and our start times might be as early as 7 a.m. or sort of 8 p.m. And we're kind of used to it now. But yeah, that first one it sounded like it was special. I regret not going to it personally.
Yeah, I would agree that I could have some regret in there because I was aware of it. I had no recollection of sort of other than acknowledging that it was on, because I think someone referenced it when the UK Strength in Depth hosted the CrossFit semi-final last at the XL. Someone which was that 22? I can't quite remember, but someone referenced it to me then, and they said HYROX, and there was images of HYROX in the XL happening in that first race, and I remember that all kicking off, and just it sat in my brain for about a year, and I reckon it manifested into us then as a group, sort of the Purple Army and my gym being at Olympia 23, and then obviously since then it's just It's just exploded, which is mad.
Yeah.
So just going back to something else you said, you talked about it being a small team. Do you feel as a company that allows and helps you to be like really personal with the athletes that you have and with the clients that you sell to en masse?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we get to make decisions really quickly. We don't have a board of directors that we have to go and get massive approvals from. We can kind of go and do the things that we are passionate about. I mean, yeah, me and Jim are really interested in HYROX, in hybrid fitness racing, in all the different events that are popping up. And we can follow those interests. I mean, there's a good sort of product market fit. Our products do work really well in that hybrid space. So that works really nicely. But then with our athletes, I mean, so Team XND, which is what we call it, it's a way that we support a number of athletes over the. We tend to call it over the HYROX season, so it tends to sort of run from September till about World Champs, so sort of June, July time, and then we tend to refresh it. We've got about 40 to 45 athletes now in that group of people, and it covers an age range, and it covers I mean, I had a message from somebody yesterday asking what is the criteria for joining the team and getting that support. There's no clear-cut formula. There's no sort of we don't have a list of you have to have X number of followers, your engagement has to be at this level, you have to have been a multiple time world champions entry, you have to have done this many races. We want to cover the vast majority of age groups, because I think especially some of the older age groups tend to get ignored, which I don't really understand, where these are key customers and brilliant stories. Like the amount of fantastic stories we get out of our age group athletes. These are the people who are doing 40 hours a week in their work and then somehow managing to squeeze 15 plus hours training and racing 10, 15 times a year, some of them it seems. And they're just absolutely fantastic stories and fantastic real people. And we get to have a real relationship with these people. We've got a WhatsApp group chat that's always going off and people discussing races and meeting up. We tend to do a team training day once or twice a year, which is really fun. But we also get involved in that. We're not just sort of corporate suits sat in an office in a skyscraper somewhere sort of trying to push buttons and do things. It's like, actually, what would we want to do? And we'll try and grow it that way, really. And I mean, that was how Team XND started. It was grown out of it was an older age group event. I think it was at a Pure Gym or something like that. And there was a few of the guys who are still on the team. This was probably 3-4 years back now. And we were looking at it, like, these are some really, really competitive people. They're not really getting much support. But actually, people listen to them. People are looking at these people as inspiration. Why are we not looking at these kind of people?
Yeah, no, do you know what? It's really refreshing. And wherever the listeners are listening to this or watching this on whichever content form or a reel, if you're seeing it there, however it's being seen, what you're saying is really refreshing. We have an example in our gym of an older female athlete that has worked with other communities who have brand partnerships, and those brands exclude a certain age and have been very open about excluding those ages, which I don't love, because surely the people with the disposable income potentially that could buy the tickets, could buy the brands, the people they would potentially promote the brands to, you know, this is all a bit businessy, out of my comfort zone. But am I right in saying that there is some truth in that as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's a lovely thing to do, that we have a really broad community. But I mean, from a business perspective, we're looking to sell products. And actually, if you look at the number of entrants in these age categories, there's a lot of people coming and doing this. And there are a lot of people from age categories that are getting ignored by other brands. And there's an opportunity there. And they tend to be very discerning customers who want to do the research, who want to be buying the best quality product for their money, and that's really where we try to position the brand. And yeah, that's kind of a big that's a big part of what we do as well, is that actually there are a lot of these customers who they maybe rediscover their love for sport when you're reaching your when you're going into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. We've got all of these kinds of people where it's not just the 24-year-olds who can train 25, 30 hours a week, have no family responsibilities maybe, and as much time in the world and can recover. I mean, I've just turned 30 and my recovery's slowing down already. Like I can't, I'm still doing all right, but actually things are much tougher when you've got less time, you've got less energy to do these kind of things. And it's not all about the top echelon of elite. There's some fantastic things going on in the age groups.
Yeah, no, Dan, be careful about the next decade as well, because I'm a decade ahead of you and it's going to slow down more if you don't look after it. Let me tell you that.
Yeah,
but no, what you're saying there is totally hits home. And I always like to declare to everyone that's listening and watching how we ended up here today. And a lot of the time I've met people or I've had some sort of association. We hadn't actually met in person. There's a little bit that will come up in the rest of the episode that shows that I've been familiar with your brand, I guess. But part of the attraction of finding out the story and understanding was that you could just go on any of your social media and you can see this broad range of athletes in terms of not only ability, but also in age. And I mean that very respectfully to the older ones and the younger ones, because you've got the whole range and you've got elite athletes as well. So you've kind of got everything. And that made it think, right, I want to talk to these guys. I want to hear a little bit more about the story. So I always like to declare why I'm here with the guest I'm with. And that's kind of my feedback to you, really, is that I think it stands out as a real positive that you are doing that. And actually it's quite nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm for me, that's fantastic to hear that message is coming across, because that is something we've always wanted to have. It's for a broad spectrum of athletes. It is for people who are taking their training really seriously. It is for, like we always say it within supplements, like actually we want to have people who they've got their diet sorted, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, all those other things. Our products are the little piece on top of that. We're not sort of selling these as this will make you go sub 60 pro time. Like it's stacking on top of lots and lots and lots of hard work. But that hard work is not just the Elite 15. That is across all of our age categories. We also have people within Elite 15 as well, that those people are using our product. So it's a tough balance to meet for sure.
Yeah, no, really interesting. And you talk about the team and the team that you've created, and that you've got WhatsApp groups. And just not so long ago, I don't think it was, I was watching a video from one of your supported athletes, which is Martin Boyce. A lot of the YouTube people will know who Martin is and will have seen his great videos. Martin's become slowly someone who I would now consider a very good acquaintance, if not friend, from the hybrid fitness racing community. He's been on the show with me here, and he always, when he goes to events, produces like a little video, and he's always got your brand on, as well as like the subscribe to his channel. But his recent video showed, I believe it was in Blackburn. Was it like an ambassadors/athlete event?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what we were mentioning about having a team day. I mean, just to shout out Martin, he's a top bloke, like really nice chap who we've been working with, I want to say 2, maybe 3 years now. Like such a lovely guy. And yeah, what you see on the videos, he's the exact same guy. But yeah, we had a team day in Blackburn probably close to 2 months ago now. We just wanted to gather as many of our guys together as we could. It was at a place called Clubhouse in Blackburn. It's run by Hakan. He's one of our other athletes. Again, he's pushing right in the top of the elites as well. He's one to watch for sure. Runs an amazing facility in Blackburn, and he hosted everyone for the day. I think we probably had about 20 or so of our guys show up. It's always a difficulty. We have athletes up in Glasgow and down in Plymouth, so finding a venue where they can all get to easily is never easy. But yeah, we hosted everyone, did a big workout, played a bit of paddle, did a bit of yoga, had a bit of food, and yes, I mean, we got a bit of content out of it, and there was that side of it. But actually, the main focus for us is getting that community together, giving back to those guys as well. They do a lot for us, and we benefit from they benefit from our relationship, and we benefit from our relationship with them as well. And we just wanted to get them together and do something cool, do something fun, just for the team. And we've done that a couple of times now. They take a surprising amount of organisation to get those kind of things going, but actually they are always so worth it, and everybody gets something out of it. And we will aim to do more of those kind of things, because everybody gets something out of it for that, and it's just good fun. Like we enjoy it as well. It's not just sort of a business thing. It's we really enjoy it as well.
Yeah, it looked like a brutal workout, by the way.
Yeah, that was all Hakan's programming. He's a bit of a beast when it comes to. I've been down to his gym a couple of times, and it's never easy.
Yeah, no, it looks hard. For anyone who wants to know what we're talking about and see a little bit more of a feature length on that, if you go to Martin Boyce's YouTube channel, you'll be able to find that event and a very good review of the event and what was going on in terms of the workout, if you want to see what we mean by brutal workout. But with that and the community and the team ethos and getting everyone together, great to see that Kieran himself, the top athlete, if you like, in the Elite 15 doubles with Tony, like great to see him in these videos and really coming across as just an everyday guy.
Yeah. Kieran, we've been working with Kieran again, probably 3+ years. He's also my coach. So he does my coaching for HYROX. He writes me a weekly program. That's completely on the side of the business, really. But he's such a down-to-earth, normal guy, really. That was part of what we really liked about him. He's a dad of 2. He runs his own business. But he's also getting all of that training in, traveling all over the world, racing right at that peak, that sort of real sharp end of racing, and sort of showing that actually you can do all of these different things. And those are the kind of people that we want to support, and that we want to kind of put our brand behind, because I think that sort of represents aspirationally for a lot of people. They can sort of relate to that a lot easier than maybe some of those athletes I discussed earlier, that actually you can't relate to having all of that free time to go and train and recover and do every possible recovery procedure that you can. Actually, the person who's got to be up at 4 o'clock because your daughter's woken up, actually, a lot of us can relate to that. And he's been a fantastic ambassador to have on board for such a period of time. We stand complete behind him. And him and Tony have done a fantastic job this season. I mean, they've been out to 3 of the majors. They were out in Europeans, which was a insanely tough field. I don't know if you were there on the Saturday night. It was the most insane race I've ever seen. But they are there cutting about and doing their thing. And again, both of those guys, we don't particularly work with Tony, but met him a few times, and both of them busy dads doing other things on top of all of this is just it's great.
Yeah, do you think as a brand, do you guys feel that pathway is important? Because I think with the HYROX Young Stars recently and and this kind of pathway that they're showing like the kids, that there's now like a career path, and you can be like Luke Gear and you can be like Lucy Proctor. And there was that very powerful video that was shared recently. But do you think it's also important to have like that person like Kieran, because of that pathway that you've explained, that, you know, your daughter getting up, like you said, 4 a.m. and you've got to do that as well, right? Do you feel as a brand that's important to show?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think both have their place, like both where you can have because it doesn't take away from the hard work of both situations, because it doesn't matter if you've got all the free time and you've got all the training things in place, you've still got to show up and do the hard work. And we've got other people who are more in that, who are in sort of the elite side, who maybe don't have all of those responsibilities. So yeah, both sides are super important, I think. And I think that's why I think having someone like Kieran, it's showing actually what is potentially available to people, what they can actually achieve, what is reasonable to achieve. Because I mean, especially with London HYROX being on for the last 10 days, I don't know about yourself, but my social media has just been HYROX. I mean, it's normally pretty heavily dominated by that, but it's just been, this person, the amount of people doing sub-hour men's pro, the amount of doubles who are sort of hitting that hour mark now, like elite. I mean, men's doubles pro, the amount in the sort of low 50s I've seen, where 2 years ago, so many of those would have been world records. And you can look at it and think, what am I doing? I'm running my times, and I feel a little bit disappointed every time. But you think, actually, what is possible? And these people are showing what is possible. And you can either take it as sort of knocking yourself down, or you can take it as, actually, well, these people are in my situation and they're achieving the top of this sport. I can get on the bike and do an hour today and come back and race quicker next time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd echo the social media thing as well. I don't think anything else exists in the world if you looked at my social media other than HYROX. And I would argue that we're quite heavily involved in other fitness races, and we've seen none of that for the last few weeks, really, as London built up and as London sort of passed on. But with that in mind, HYROX comes along. We've covered 2021 and how you guys support your athletes, etc. But what we've found now is we've got Deadly Dozen, we've got DEKA in the UK, you know, just announcing recently again that they're going to have a London event now. We've got Celtex, we've got Triker coming, we've got Metrics that are a couple of years into their journey. Like, as a brand, are you seeing like these ambassadors and athletes that you have, are they playing across the field of hybrid fitness racing?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we've got how many HYROX races in the UK? We've got maybe 5 or 6 in the UK in a season.
Yeah.
And people are saying, and yes, you can travel out to Europe. You can probably travel every weekend and compete in Europe, but it costs quite a lot of money. We're seeing so many of our ambassadors popping up at all of these races, and we're also looking at these races as a separate entity as well, of like, actually, maybe there are people coming out of Deadly Dozen that may have not competed in HYROX. That doesn't mean that we wouldn't support those athletes if we found someone in those spaces, because I've done a Deadly Dozen race. It's, yes, you're running a little bit less distance. It's no easier. It still absolutely sucks. And like, I showed up to, I think it was either the first year when they had 3 races. I showed up to one of the events and thought, it's a breeze. It's only 400-meter race. And sort of 4 laps in, thinking, is it 10 laps or 12? And like, I was really, really gassed on it. And it was, and yeah, so there are all these races popping up, and a lot of our guys are racing in them, and some of them are doing really, really fantastically well in them. I mean, Stephen Price, who's one of our long-running ambassadors, again, he's been there from the conception of Team XEndurance. We've been in his corner from then. I mean, he's just had 2 phenomenal results in HYROX after taking some time away from it. And now I was chatting to him yesterday. He's going all in on Deadly Dozen for a period, and does fantastically well in that sort of modality of racing. And I think all of those other races that are popping up really fill a gap, and are actually really starting to compete with HYROX on those kind of things where you're sort of looking at quality of racing, definitely the community side of things. A lot of the smaller races, especially, there's more of a community feel, which you're just not going to get where you've got a venue with 5, 6, 7,000 people in on a day. If you've got maybe 400 or 500 racing, you're going to be able to chat to people. People are going to be able to sort of gather together and make it a bit more of a community event. Like we've worked with Deadly Dozen previously in the past. We're working with the Celtex boys this year as well. So we've got someone down at their event, which is coming up this weekend. And yeah, like all of these events, they're fantastic places for people to test their fitness, I guess.
Yeah, no, I was lucky enough to be at the first Celtex, and James and Dylan gave me access all areas and let me run around the track with a high vis on and capture some content. And what those guys created for me was, you know, they sort of asked me for feedback if there was anything I could add, like in terms of what I thought of the event. And when you're talking about like a little bit of a fish smell from the fish truck being the only major problem, like when you're talking about that, and they won't mind me saying that either, like when that's what you can pick, and you know, I'm not somebody that's got no experience here. I've competed in most. I've been at world champs for DEKA and HYROX multiple times, so I've seen it from a podcaster's perspective and a fan's point of view. And to say that that's all that you could really feed back on those boys was unbelievable. And I'm sure the Exeter event, you know, is going to be similar and very much the same outcomes, really, like the organization and the way they lay it out, etc. But when we go back to Pricey, talking about someone like him again, like a dad, got a family, gonna probably in 2026 represent himself and obviously be one of your athletes in your team at both HYROX World Championships and the Deadly Dozen World Championships. Absolutely. Like, again, another great example to the world, like that we can be normal and be competing at a high level. You know, as a brand, do you guys think it's positive that your everyday person can be on a world stage, multiple places?
Absolutely. I think that's kind of the big part for us. A lot of our athletes are at that top age, that top level of maybe their age category. We have a few people who we have for maybe slightly different reasons, but the majority come from that top level of their age group. And I think that's important. We're not saying to use our products, you need to be this absolute top person, but it's that aspirational status of these people who are very, very, well, actually, the majority of the people that I've met are exactly the same person as you see on social media, especially with the age group athletes. There's no sort of social media persona. I've met some people before where social media and real life is very different. But most of these guys, they are very, very normal, very down to earth, easy to speak to. And yeah, they've got other stuff going on. And it gives something for people to aspire to, that actually that is, and those are the kind of people we want to get behind. That's where I think, that's where our brand wants to be, is those people who are aspiring to just be better, just be a little bit better every day. And you don't have to be the person breaking the world record over all age categories. You can just be the person who is setting your own PB and getting a better time and pushing to be the best that you can.
Yeah, no, that's really cool, and that's a great message to put out there as well, and really something that the people can get behind as much as anything. So this part of the show, I mean, I think you and I, Dan, obviously clearly have a mutual passion for all of this stuff, but I tend to ask like a top 3 tips. But what I'm going to do is we're going to take on board what you said earlier. people that are getting the nutrition, the hydration, they're getting that right, and
Yeah.
they're looking for a product that they need to start using to help them. They're training a lot of hours a week. They're a busy person. And is there one of your products that you would kind of recommend as like an entry position for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would caveat again. We're looking at got your food, nutrition, got your water, you're drinking enough water, and you're sleeping relatively good. Sometimes these things are out of control, especially if you're a parent to young children like I am. Sleep is not completely in my control. But when we're looking at, we talk about these as sort of like 1% in increases. That's where we're looking at. So our first one, and it's the product we're really known for. In the UK and Europe, it's called lactic acid buffer. And in the States, it's called XEndurance. It's one of the first products that the company made. The goal of that product is it's buffering that burning feeling you get in a very, very high intensity workout. So you can push on a little bit further. It doesn't eradicate that feeling completely. That's a natural system that you need to have in place to put the brakes on, but it's buffering that feeling at that very high intensity. You tend to start to feel that sort of in your sort of sled push, where you're feeling that sort of burning feeling you get in your lungs. That's what we're looking to affect with that product. So that's a tableted product. That's a day you take it daily like a multivitamin. And we've also seen benefits in speeding up recovery as well. So that's a product that we sort of really built the business on. Alongside that, I mean, we do a creatine product. Creatine is you want to look for the best quality creatine that you can get. But yeah, we have a really good quality creatine product. Our Fuel 5, which is a carbohydrate drink, I use that quite a lot. So if I'm going into a workout, like I'll probably go and do my workout about 3 o'clock today. It's been a bit of time since lunch. I might be feeling a little bit sluggish. It's just an easy way to get some fast acting carbs into your system. We have a lot of people use that on race day, sort of sipping that 1 to 2 hours beforehand, where you want something nice and gentle on your stomach that's going to give you those necessary carbohydrates. And then, yeah, we have a long list of products that I'm not going to bore everyone by sort of reeling off. But if you message our social media or if you email us or anything like that, you will come through to a real person, likely me, and we'll chat through what your sort of training goals are, what you're doing at the moment. And we would much rather somebody go away with 1 or 2 of our products, test them out, see if they really like them, and then come back and if they might want to try a few other things on top of that as well, rather than throwing 6 or 7 things at you. Because I've seen people do that before and then they have no idea what's working. And it's actually slowly add these things in. How does it feel to you? Is it benefiting your training? Are you recovering better? Are your times decreasing? And then we sort of add things on top of that. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's great insight as well, because I think in a market that is saturated as well, that where there's lots of I don't know what you guys would call it, but I would call it noise on social media around these products. It's always good to get like somebody who's right in there giving a perspective like that, because you know the one thing that's come across today in this episode is that you are real people dealing with real people. And I think sometimes the everyday person could look at mass marketing and go, everyone they're showing me is nothing like me. How do I know which product I need to have? And the people that are selling me it aren't anything like me either. So how do I deal with that? You know, that might just be my take on it, but I've worked in the industry 20 plus years now. It's obvious.
Yeah, there is a lot of noise, and it's hard to not contribute to that sometimes. And it's there is a lot of noise, and I would always just encourage people to drop us a message, drop us an email. We'll even jump on a phone call with people. Like, actually, we just want to communicate as best as we can what we're about, and we genuinely want to see people do better and support them in whatever way we can to do that through our products. And that's what the goal of the company's been from the get-go, really.
Yeah, no, brilliant. That's really cool. So last question then. I've been finishing on this one in the recent episodes because I feel like this question matters right now.
Yeah.
Where do you feel and where do you see this fitness racing industry going? This part of the fitness industry, where do you see it going in the sort of next 5 to 10 years?
I think it's going to continue to grow. I think it's going to continue. We're going to see more of these different events popping up, and I think we'll see that will push the quality forward. That competition is always a good thing. It's going to be pushing the quality of these things forward, and maybe that forces HYROX to improve on certain things, and that will also force these other brands to do their absolute best. I think in gyms, in other people's in sort of general fitness, I think we've all seen, if you go into a commercial gym now, I mean, I've been going to commercial gyms for 12, 13 years. They look very different, and people are doing much more functional things. It's whilst we do lots of things with older age groups, and I think that's fantastic that so many more of these older age groups are getting involved with these types of things as well. The amount of younger athletes joining who their focus on sport isn't what I look like and how many Instagram followers I've got and all those things. It's actually the performance side of things, which I think is, and trying to be better and trying to be fitter and faster. I think that's so much better than maybe what we saw more in, and you still see quite a lot of this in commercial gyms, but less about the aesthetic and all of those kind of things. And I think for me, that's the biggest positive I see, is I see lots more people who maybe they care a little bit less about the size of their biceps and actually how much quicker they can run and how much more they can push and pull and row and all of those things. And I think that's the biggest benefit I see. The sport itself, I think it'll continue to grow. The Olympic question, it's less important to me, I think. But yeah, I think actually the more people that gets involved in sport and fitness, the better.
Yeah, no, cool. Yeah, interesting answer at the end there as well. Yeah, no, brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, no, cheers, Dan. So if anyone who's listened or watched today wants to kind of have a look in a little bit more depth, where's the best place to find you?
So you can either find us on Instagram, we're XEndurance_EU, or if you're UK based, XEndurance.co.uk, Europe based, it's the same, but .eu, or if you're based in the States, it's .com.
Fantastic. Well, Dan, from me, that's been very insightful and something that I would have been interested in, which is why I created this show, because I like to hear and understand things a little bit more, the mechanisms behind the people, the faces and the athletes. And you've certainly given a lot of insight into that today. So we really appreciate your time. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. Really enjoyed it.
And to everyone that is listening and watching, I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you think there is anything in the show that you know somebody out there would benefit from hearing, or there's something that's been answered about one of their favorite athletes or anything like that, do pass this on to them. And of course, like and share and pop your comments in there, because they make a huge difference to us, the little guys that are just passionate about what we do. But for today, thanks again, Dan. Thanks again to everyone that tuned in. And I hope to speak to you all again with some more On The ROX.